Yeah, against this right back, Charlie, definitely.
There's always that active red line defenders. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on.
As the big man Ian Wright just said there, people deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. I hope you're doing well and safe. I hope you're doing blessed and appreciative of you lot tuned in. Now, please do me a favor, YouTube gang, get the creative juices flowing and comment any comments you have on anything we discuss. Obviously, make sure you're liking and subscribing. It's a small gesture, but it really helps the platform and the YouTube algorithm kick things into motion. Journey to 70k subs. Now, as you lot know, it's January. Rumors mill is a plenty. Every day there's a new rumor, whether we sign these players or not. But it is what it is, you know. I must admit, I know a lot of us Arsenal fans, we say we're tired of stuff, but we find ourselves waffling about our current form, about transfers and all of this. Football is a crazy drug, isn't it? Nonetheless, we've been linked with Ahamadou Onana of Everton, who was previously linked with at Lille. Played very well against us at Goodison Park last year. Obviously, he's a central midfielder, 6 foot odd, relatively decent technical level. And we need to be bringing in people in January. You know, in part, that kind of saves our season, although there's a lot of things we need to address on the training field. Arsenal transfers. Gunners' stance on Ahamadou Onana move as Chelsea join battle for Everton's start. Previously, Chelsea, Manchester United, Barcelona, as well as Arsenal have been linked with him. For what it's worth, though, for all the talk of his agent being in London and Arsenal trying to, you know, do a loan with an option to buy, and we're trying to find 50 to 60 million, and Everton kind of need to sell because they're in a bit of a peculiar financial situation. Allegedly, Ryan Taylor of the Mirror has said reports in Belgium have claimed Arsenal have opened formal talks with Everton over the signing of the midfielder Onana, but the Mirror Football understands that is not the case. Arsenal are yet to open talks with Everton over a potential deal for Onana. While the 22-year-old midfield powerhouse is a player that has been tracked by the Gunners, there have been no active movement regarding a January transfer at this moment in time. Reports in Belgium have been peddling that discussions are now underway between the two clubs, but the Mirror Football understands that is not the case. It's no secret that Arsenal have been hamstrung by FFP regulations following a 208 million transfer spree last summer, and their net spend has amounted to nearly 400 million in the past 3 calendar years. They are therefore operating diligently this month. As such, a big money transfer for Onana does not currently seem feasible, even if he would immediately improve their options in the middle of the park. Everton are thought to be open to offers for the former Lille midfielder, as a sale would help, obviously, the club's financial strains following their 10-point deduction for breaching the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. Chelsea are also admirers of Onana, who joined Everton for 33.5 million quid in August of 2022. Despite the fact there's been little movement on Onana, Arsenal will be ready to make their mark in the market if the opportunity that is too good to miss presents itself. A potential loan arrival at left back remains under consideration. I think we do need a defensive reinforcement, but who would be that left back on loan? However, unless something dramatic changes, such as a significant player sale, it is expected to be a quiet month at the Emirates Stadium. Not what us Arsenal fans want to hear, people. There's full faith that the Arsenal's fortunes will improve once key players return from injuries and international commitments. We've seen that story before. Crystal Palace remain interested in a deal for Eddie Nketiah, but he is not actively for sale. It would take a sizable offer to get Arsenal talking. There's been rumours he'll be available for 30 to 40 million quid, people. One man who could go at the right price is Smith Rowe, who is again suffering from a lack of playing time. There's been little interest in the 23-year-old today. Again, he is not actively transfer listed. The same applies to Aaron Ramsdale, and Arteta has already made it clear he would like to keep the England international at least until the end of the season, when his future will be reconsidered. So we'll have to see what happens in relation to Ramsdale, Smith Rowe, and Nketiah, the pursuit of Onana, and so on and so forth, people. We've been once again linked with Isak. Now, again, if we have any chance of Isak, it's the summer. Newcastle becoming, top 6 rivals. They've qualified for the Champions League. Why would they want to sell Isak to a Premier League team? If they are to sell him, then you'd imagine they'd want significantly more than the initial 58 rising to 63 million quid that they bought him for. And, I'm sure Odegaard, having had, you know, the chance to play with him while they were at Sociedad together could cook. I mean, Isak would be welcomed at the carpet, really and truly, but can't see it happening. Arsenal remain admirers of Newcastle hitman Isak. Sources close to the club have revealed to Football Transfers. The Gunners are expressing a keen interest in securing the services of the Swedish striker. Although there's no confirmation of an imminent January signing, we are told that Isak is highly regarded within the Arsenal recruitment team, with Mikel Arteta and Edu keeping tabs on the former Real Sociedad and Borussia Dortmund striker. Had Newcastle have not got new owners, then maybe things could happen, but Newcastle are ticking in the right direction. They're getting a lot of money. Once, you know, they're able to probably spend a bit more, then they'll be competitive and whatnot. Now, you're going to have to spend 100 odd million on Isak now in the summer if we're able to get Boniface, if we're able to explore Osimhen, you know, Ivan Toney. I'm sure Isak would be under consideration, but it would take a lot, in my opinion, for him to leave Newcastle and sign for Arsenal Football Club. But in theory, would like the guy, 24 years of age, like his languid body movement, very good technical skill, has the capacity to score goals as well, people. After you know, didn't really set the world alight at Dortmund. Took a while to kind of find his feet. Once it got going at Sociedad, and now Newcastle is doing his thing. Does pick up some injuries though. The Gunners had targeted Isak during the summer of 2022, aiming to reunite him with former Sociedad teammate Odegaard. However, negotiations faltered at the time due to concerns over the player's release clause, which Arsenal deemed too high, and he eventually moved to Newcastle for 58 million fee, rising to 63 million, including add-ons, where he's since flourished. Imagine if we got Isak, not even Rafinha, Isak, Douglas Luiz when we wanted him, you know, Bruno Gomares and Paqueta, things might be a lot different. Despite missing out on Isak in the past, it seems that the Arsenal's interest in the 24-year-old striker has not waned, especially given his goal record in the Premier League. He has 19 goals in the league across 37 games for the Magpies so far. While Arsenal may not be actively pursuing a January transfer for Isak, we understand they may revisit negotiations in upcoming transfer window. The North London side are targeting an elite striker to come and have already expressed an interest in Brentford's Ivan Toney. Much is the case for half the clubs we see with the news in January. Newcastle are currently having to tread lightly due to FFP constraints, people. So I do like Isak, but the dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. To kind of go back over Ryan Taylor, apparently Arsenal have a clear idea about their summer transfer targets, with Ivan Toney and Martin Zubiamendi among those at the top of their agenda. A wide player is also of interest, with Pedro Neto a long-term target, while 17-year-old defender Hato is also on the club's radar, although Ajax are confident of tying him down to a new contract. Apparently Chelsea have joined the race for him. I mean, we'd all love Isak, you know, but focusing on this, Pedro Neto, Zubiamendi, Hato, you know, these guys would be lovely. But all we keep hearing is the summer, and I get it, you know, the summer's the time to do the bulk of your movement, and I'm not saying not to do that, but it does, talking about the summer don't really help us right now in what's left of our campaign. We know we're out of the league in FA Cup, slim chances of winning the Prem, but let's give it a go. And if the Prem chances are slim, then what do we make of the Champions League? But nonetheless, it's all to play for. I mean, who wouldn't want these players? You know, all them players said there in, well, I like Ivan Toney, but, you know, I would want to explore other strikers as well as Ivan Toney. If we could get Zubiamendi confirmed for the summer, along with Pedro Neto and Hato, Edu, get I's dotted, T's crossed, agreements done. But we don't know if we're actually going to be in the Champions League. I say if, we probably will be. And we're treading close to FFP. We don't know what's going to be available, really and truly. But let's see in it, really. Moving on, allegedly Ivan Toney wants to join Arsenal and would pick the club over Chelsea if both clubs were to formalise their interest. However, he's expected to stay at Brentford until the end of the season. Rightly so, Brentford are fighting relegation. They stood behind Ivan Toney. You know, they've lost Mbuemo to injury. They've lost Wisa to AFCON. They probably want, you know, Ivan Toney to show a bit of loyalty to the club that stood by him. And if you want to leave in the summer, do your thing, really and truly. So yeah, that's that. But this ain't anything we haven't known. We all know, and again, we have seen that a left back on loan could be under consideration. Who that left back is when they arrive at the club, I don't know. You know, in an ideal world, in January or in the last summer, we would have addressed all the concerns. I think defensive reinforcements, midfield reinforcements, a wide man, especially with Martinelli and Saka's form and Trossard and everybody kind of needing to reset mentally, wouldn't go amiss. Evidently, for Arsenal to get to the next level, even if we signed a midfielder, a winger, and had all the defensive reinforcements in the world, we are not going to get closer to Liverpool or City or achieve what they've achieved in recent years if we do not have a guy that is going to get 20+ goals, as well as everybody else obviously finding their goal scoring boots. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts on everything we've discussed so far, folks. Moving on, as we've said already, TalkSport is also reporting Ramsdale is expected to stay at Arsenal until the summer. The 25-year-old has admirers at both Chelsea and Newcastle, but neither clubs are targeting spending big money on a goalkeeper this window. And if you go to Chelsea, listen, Chelsea, I don't want to praise them. Big club, London club, achieve things, will get things going. But on paper, you would have Sanchez, Kepa if Real Madrid don't keep him permanently, and Ramsdale. I'm not saying he can't start ahead of them, but you've got 3 international keepers. Is it clear who's the number one? I'm sure if Ramsdale was available on loan, Newcastle would take him tomorrow. But you have Nick Pope, who you're fighting for England. If you win the battles, fair enough. He was linked with Wolves a few weeks ago. Surely it makes sense to do kind of that. Like, no disrespect to Aston Villa, because their project is great. They've got a big club. But you look at Emi Martinez, he took a step down to go to Aston Villa, playing on a regular basis, and with the greatest of respect to Aston Villa and Emery, because they're doing a great project, you know, you'd imagine sooner rather than later, Emi Martinez is going to be playing for a Champions League club. So I think that's what Ramsdale needs to do, man. And in an ideal world, we don't let the 25-year-old leave, but it is what it is, people, in that regard. We were previously linked yesterday with Spinazzola, who has 6 months left on his deal at Roma, and his agent came out and said he's not signing a new deal. He does play as a fullback, and maybe that is something to be discussed. He was also linked with Aston Villa. Romano has said he's not on the short list of Aston Villa people, but he is expected to leave Roma. So I'd imagine in the next few days, those rumours to Arsenal would recirculate, people. Ben Jacobs has offered his own opinion on Ivan Toney as well. Now, all these journalists, really and truly, they're saying the same things, but to give you lot the scoop and the content and whatnot, smash the like button. Let me read it out to you lot. Arsenal are not currently in talks for Ivan Toney, although many fans feel he'd be a perfect fit. What's true, though, is that Ivan Toney would welcome an approach from Arsenal. There is no guarantee Arsenal, much like Chelsea, will sign a striker now as opposed to waiting until the summer. And in Toney's case, it's just a very expensive outlay to make anything happen. Brentford want 80+ million, and some sources even indicate they would hold out for 100 million before even entertaining an offer. That's obviously out of Arsenal's budget for January. Ivan Toney has also said on record he feels he owes Brentford for their support during his ban for gambling breaches, so it's more likely at this stage he stays at Brentford in January. And if you're Arsenal, Chelsea, anyone that wants Ivan Toney, not saying you don't need a striker right now, considering the fact that he ain't kicked a competitive ball at the time of making this vid, and he's got 18 months left on his deal, 12 months from the summer. Surely you want to monitor how he resumes his career in the Premier League, which I think, just based on the way he talks, how he carries himself, it will be business as usual. Really, this is also down to the fact, as I've said already, Brentford need him to help them further clear of the relegation zone. Remember when Burmo is injured and Wisa is at the African Cup of Nations with DR Congo, this will make them even more reluctant to sell Toney now. A new contract at Brentford also can't be ruled out, but the challenge is matching his desired wage. And if you're not going to get a suitable, attractive release clause, it don't make sense. But Brentford don't feel in any rush, and although it's true Toney is starting to plan for his next move, free agency in 2025 is not impossible either. Again, nothing can be ruled out. Emil Smith-Rowe has also been speaking about his fitness and things. He said, I'm feeling good now. I've been back in training for a while. It's all good at the moment. I don't think I did anything differently in rehab. I just felt a lot better with it this time. At first, we thought the injury would be a bit longer, but I started feeling really good after just a few weeks. So then I kicked on and I'm feeling good now as well. He then said, I've had no problems, so now I'm not thinking about the injury at all. It's behind me. I want to kick on and get back on the pitch. The team has been doing so well lately. I don't know about lately. And of course, I want to be part of that and to get involved as soon as possible. He then went on to say, I think we've definitely pushed on. We look really strong this year. We've added some new players and brought a few new players in, and they've added a lot to strengthen the team. It's great to see Declan. I knew him a bit from playing with England before, and he's a great guy. Obviously, everyone can see what he's doing on the pitch. He's been amazing for us, but off the field too, and around the training ground, he's added more leadership. The way he demands the best from himself and his teammates is really good. He's one of the big leaders here already. Big up Declan. Then he said training is really intense, actually, as it should be for every Premier League team, because you can't have lax training and then you're playing intense matches. Train the way you play with common sense. So, yeah, I think it's got to be like that to keep pushing every day, to keep improving, and the manager demands that. It's nice to be high up in the league. I don't look at the league table, but in training, you're not thinking about that. You just want to get better every day and keep improving. I love that side of it. Everybody has to prove they can play here, so it means every session you have to be at your best. It's a great environment to be in. Feels like some will play regardless, though. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts on what Smith-Rowe has just said, what you think on potentially signing Ivan Toney. Obviously, we've gone over Isak. Neto Zubiamendi, and probably more players than I can even remember. Aaron Ramsdale, let me know your thoughts on everything, people. In fact, I'm doing you lot a big disservice, people, because actually there's one little piece of information. Apparently, one of Europe's hottest strikers reveals he's a lifelong Arsenal fan and calls fellow Gunners target Victor Osimhen a brother to him. This is in relation to Boniface, who I think is going to actually miss AFCON because of an injury, people. As we know, Boniface, he said he's a lifelong Arsenal fan. He's been speaking on John Obi Mikel's podcast. The 23-year-old, as it says here, is widely regarded as one of the most promising forwards in European football, having scored 16 goals in 23 appearances across all comps for the German side Leverkusen so far. As you know, they've got former player Granit Xhaka flying high on the Xabi Alonso and have a real chance of winning the Bundesliga, people. So yeah, he also called, Xhaka a top professional, praised his maturity and things. He said, for me, from a young age, I've supported Arsenal my life. Supporting Arsenal, you need a lot more to sign for a club or for a club to buy than that. But it is an obvious added caveat, people. And, obviously, this is why I think it's so key to have, when you had an Henry who's French or you've had a Kanu who's Nigerian. And, when I say Nigeria, it doesn't matter if you're from Nigeria, Ghana, whatever, ban that over Africa, because how many, the next young Senegalese winger might want to sign for Liverpool or might be a Liverpool fan because of Mane, or the next Egyptian Don because of Salah. Again, you look at Jogba, you look at Eto'o, you look at Kanu, to various degrees. You can see why people grow up supporting clubs and whatnot, people. So yeah, obviously he said they've got a young squad. I'm not going to waste you lot's time with that. But he said, I grew up supporting Arsenal because of one person, Kanu. I loved watching Arsenal because of Kanu. It's the thing that where a Nigerian player plays, you tend to support your own. Now, when you watch the kids coming up, everybody, because of me, Victor Moses, everybody has moved to Chelsea. And yeah, man, I know Osimhen and all those sort of things there. Probably, we've seen the footage of him in a Chelsea shirt. We all know Osimhen has signed a new deal at Napoli, a year extension until 2026, and allegedly has a release clause of anything from 100 to 130 million. So the summer we'll have to see. He obviously said he respects him a lot, and it's got to be amazing. He spoke about Didier Drogba, and again he's praised Granit Xhaka. So yeah, people, I almost forgot to include that one in the video, but we remembered, people. Saliba last-ditch defending settings. If you haven't subscribed, smash the like button, let me know your thoughts, turn on your engagement bells, check out the rest of the content. Most importantly, thank you very much for not only listening to this, but for my regular supporters that support all the content. Journey to 70k subscribers is alive and kicking. So yeah, hit the like button, comment, subscribe, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you lot again soon. God bless you all. Stay safe, stay blessed. One love.
There's always just that active red man defending. I think it's like